sorry, Rendan. While the
Sure, Thomas.
the okay. I know you talked about a certificate that we must obtain before sitting for APC.
No,
For myself, I know that I've taken the ABC 2-year program where essentially I'll then be sitting for APC next year.
sure.
So tentatively, when will I be able or due to sit for that to write an exam that qualifies me to get a certificate? Is it this year or next year?
Next year.
Awesome, great, thank you.
All right, sure. Thank you. Yes. So well, what we do for this one, so if you then sit, maybe then the next slide will be much more clearer. So starting with the full year program, right? So the full year program runs for roughly, call it what, 7 full months or so. And the idea is that we start with this transition to CA. And here, what I want you to just be clear about when we are done and say, why did we have to spend 2 weeks on this? Excuse me. I want you to say that you are clear about how this year is going to unfold and how you are going to be using the textbooks. What resources do you have access to, and what is the expectation from you with regards to these resources? That is what the 2 weeks is all about. So when the 2 weeks are done, I want you, when someone says to you that we are going to cover ISA 700, for you to say that is an auditing standard. And better yet, to say that deals with going concern. You might not know what it's talking about or what is happening in going concern, but I want you to be so familiar. Because at the end, we need to be talking and said that this transaction will be dealt with in accordance with IFRS 3, IFRS 13, and IFRS 9, and you smile because you understand what those are. So here we are going to just be clear about what and how the standards work. And when I say that there is a scope to an IFRS standard, I want you to say, oh, I know what a scope is. You might not know what is the scope of IFRS 13, but you can explain to someone and say, when we talk about scope, we're talking about this. When I say that there is presentation, you will know what is the difference between presentation and disclosure requirements. You will know how to, or that there is what they call an assertion, where management are saying that the presentation is in good order, the disclosure is in good order. How do you go about auditing those things? So that is the high-level picture that you'll come up with. But how to then do the work will then happen in the specific phases. And you might be asking that, sure, is that correct? Do we spend 3 months in accounting? Is that not too much? And why do we? So one of the things that informed the time we dedicate to accounting, it was a question of around how is the APC structured? The APC typically has 7 tasks. And for majority of the past 11 years, 10 out of those 11 assessment had 2 tasks on accounting. When I say 2 tasks, I'm talking about this is task A, it's got accounting. Task B, it's got accounting. Task F, it's got accounting. So here, and even here, task D had accounting. So if you were not strong in accounting, you will have struggled a bit with December 2023. Now, what do I mean? Like in task A, when you were reviewing the accounting for a list, you needed to think about IS 37 issues. You needed to think about IFRS 16 issues. Those are two standards. Then when you are reviewing this review of impairment of cash generating unit, you needed to know IS 36, IS 16 principles. Those are 4. Then when you are tackling task D, you need to know IFRS 15 because you are checking the internal controls around the revenue process and to reconcile the theoretical revenue with the revenue that is on the books. So you needed to know your accounting principle. So IFRS 15 was the 5th standard. Then when we spoke about task F, which was a tax task integrated with accounting, you needed to know IS 12. And because it was an income tax calculation, you would have needed to know a little bit more accounting, but there were 6 standards of accounting in one APC. So do you see why we then said, we can't say someone is well prepared if we don't spend this much time in accounting and ensure that if they get a similar APC where they have to come and unpack a number of accounting standards, they need to do so confidently. So that's why accounting, we've then given it quite a lot of time. Even if you go back, accounting is like that. It could be one task, but there could be 2 or even 3 accounting standards featuring. So same thing with the recent 2024. There was IFRS 10, IFRS 3, and IFRS 13 in one question. In one question, and a little bit of IS 38. In one question, there were about 4 accounting standards. And if you are not as comfortable with accounting, that will bother you. But after going through this so much accounting, I promise you, you'll want and hope that the entire APC is accounting because you will then be there with that understanding. And the idea is that once you have mastered it, then can you audit it? Auditing, when you obtain what audit evidence, you're going to get someone or a task that says, we need to obtain audit evidence and also develop internal controls that this revenue is accounted for properly. So you might need to know that, but how do we even account for revenue? Oh, there are contracts. Okay, that means if I'm to audit, I need to know contracts. There are this. So that understanding of accounting, you're going to see why it becomes a foundation for the rest of the program. So that's why we spend so much time in accounting. It's not a mistake. It is quite intentional. And the idea is to really not only build your technical, but build your confidence, your structured thinking when it comes to accounting. Audit, fundamentally, we are thinking like the external auditors. We don't deal so much with internal audit here. We deal with the audit, and here you then wear a different hat. You now become the auditor, not the auditee. So the auditee, you will have then understood how to prepare the transaction. That's what auditors do. But as an auditor, you'll then find to say that, we start with what we call pre-engagement activities. So before I even take an auditee client, what should I think about? So you might have remembered the likes of the Gupta times, right? The Guptas after the KPMG, the KPMG what? The KPMG debacle. You will have then seen that the Guptas were out looking for auditors. But auditors were saying, thank you for your business. I'm better off without it. Why? Because the auditing standards tell a firm to say, before you accept an audit, check your independence, assess your ethical requirements, check whether you've got enough resources, check whether you've got enough expertise. So those things are the things that the auditor needs to then think about. So we then start from there. Then after you've accepted the audit, what do? You need to plan for an audit. But how do you plan to do an audit for something you don't understand? Obtain an understanding of the client. So those are the kind of things that we then unpack under auditing. But once you start planning, you'll be saying that I'm looking at the financial statements. What am I worried about? I'm worried about revenue. Why? Because of this. I'm worried about this. Then you do a risk assessment. And that risk assessment does require you to understand the accounting. Math, we don't give it as much time because most of you have gone through this and it becomes a matter of just adapting it to the thinking from a CA perspective. Then tax, we are saying, as part of value creation, you need to manage your tax bill. Yes, we have got an obligation to pay the government, but we should not be pouring out all the money to government, even the ones that are not due. So can you help your company comply with tax and not pay an excessive bill of tax in doing so? So that is how then the journey from a technical perspective looks like. Then additionally, when you look at our timetable, I had it open, so let me just see. So let me see. Yeah. So if you then look at our timetable, you'll then see that in some cases it's got this tutorial. So now we are saying that as part of building our journey, application of this principle is quite important. So we are going to talk about this and tell you how to do this and even do some examples in class.
Sorry,
But
Rindani.
yes, sure.
I think there's someone else that also commented. I'm seeing a white screen. Maybe if you just want to unshare and share again the timetable, please.
What is happening on my screen today?
Unless if you're using two screens, never know.
I am.
So yeah. Did we lose Rindani or is it just me?
I think we lost him.
Can someone from admin perhaps assist, please?
Good evening, team. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Peter.
Thank you so much. Rendan will be back shortly. I'm just also trying to connect to that other PC. So if you could just wait for him, he will just assist shortly. Thank you so much.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Lerato. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Good.
Do you mind also just putting the I think he said it was eifrs.org link for the digital textbooks, the digital
okay.
handbooks.
Yes. Oh, not a problem. I'll also just put that and link it onto the chat box.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, team. Just to also advise that I've also on the chat box just linked for those who might be interested in purchasing their handbooks through Endunamo. So I've also just sent through that link there. So if you could also have a look onto the specific textbook or handbook which you might want to purchase, and then we'll also have that delivered to you. Thank you once more, team.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, is it Spiwe or Priska?
Sipiwe.
Spiwe. Oh, okay. How are you,
Um,
Spiwe?
uh, Thank you. And thanks for the link. I know I've joined the class late, and so I might have missed a couple of things, but now I'm seeing the link,
Yes,
and me coming from SEMA,
yes.
I'm a bit confused. Which books am I supposed to buy? Because I'm seeing that there are 4 types of books here, and so it might be
Okay.
a bit difficult for us, unless if you are willing to explain.
Oh, okay. So I'll also just pose that question to our academic head. Thank you for the question, Spiwe. So I'm also gonna just pose it to him as he's I'm just joining back in, and then I'm just gonna throw it to him. So you also be able to best describe some of these textbooks, or rather explain to you in brief. Thank you so much for that question.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I see. Can you hear you, Rendani?
Yeah, that laptop seems to have failed me. Not sure what is the issue, but I'm on a new laptop now. So let me just quickly get back to it.
Rendani, maybe before you proceed, just to also throw it to you. So Spio was also just so he said he joined in late, so he just wanted a bit of clarity on how you're explaining some of those handbooks and textbooks, if they are going to be of necessity going forward with these studies. So I think if you could also just bring it back to him, just to also shed some light. Thank you so much.
All right, sure. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll get to it. So are you able to see my screen, the timetable now?
That's better, thank you.
Sure. So what I was saying is, if you look at this, so here we are going to cover some of those standards, which is PPE, investment property, intangible assets, and impairment of assets and impairment of cash generating units. So some of the things sometimes is that we will then cover it as part of it will then cover this standard individually, but we'll be building things up. What do I mean? That you will need probably to have attended PPE and investment property before you come into this session on the 18th of Feb. So it will then become very critical for you to then, if you miss a class, to quickly watch that video, because we build onto things. So unlike in the CTA videos, each topic is generally approached independently. Yes, we might refer to the other standards, but generally we want you to understand each standard, because we understand different programs, different needs might require you to just focus on a particular standard. So we want you to get the benefit of that, to say that even if you are coming from a different program, because our CTA, we do find candidates coming from different university. So we don't want to then limit their value by saying you need to watch this video first when someone just needs a particular content. But now the benefit of a program like this is that in addition to the CTA video, we now help with integrating your thinking or knowledge to say that intangibles, did you notice that this builds on IS 16? And therefore, the things we covered last week, we're not going to repeat. We're going to start the session here because we were together and we spoke about X and Y. Then now we come and say, now that you know about X and Y, how do you impair those assets? Let's now bring those assets that we were dealing with before and let's deal with this. Then what if they're not just individual assets, they're a group of assets? What makes a cash generating unit to exist? And we're going to assume that we were together before. Then what the tutorials do, you will have this. And we are saying now to benefit here, we are going to give you a question that deals with all these things together. And you might say that, oh, but we were thinking about them individually and we were using them on a progressive basis. But I hear you that it's not unheard of for what? It's not unheard of for a company that does what? To have assets that are PPE, have assets that are investment property, have assets that are intangible in nature. That's not unheard of. So if it's not unheard of, then we should be seeing questions like that. So the tutorial then does that. So you then have a question that does what? That then deals with all those assets we have covered. So therefore, the tutorials become very useful and helpful to your journey, and it then starts helping you to connect. Because as I'm saying, that the APC is integrated in nature. So you need to now understand how that integration comes to being and why it might not be considered unreasonable given that candidates have gone through CTA and IAC. Then same thing, we're then going to what? We're then going to cover now specific transaction standards. And we are now going to do what? Have a tutorial on them. Have a tutorial again on them to build. So in the tutorial, we'll also help you to say, how do you use your standard now to extract knowledge? That's one. And two, apply it in an exam. Do you have to tell the examiner that I've used paragraph 1, 2, 3? Will the examiner be interested in that? What if the paragraph you are saying you've used is wrong? Will you get penalized? Or is it safe to just go copy the standard and say, the principle I'm applying is this? Or should I just tell the examiner what I'm doing and the examiner will know the paragraphs themselves? How do I reconcile those things? That's what we then help you with. Does that make sense? In terms of how you need to show up for the tutorial. So the tutorials themselves, as I'm saying, if you can, please do submit them in advance. What is the benefit? Because our marking or our lecturers, our marking team or our lecturers will mark that for you and just give you some high-level feedback to say, you are on the right track, you are not there yet, you need to put more time here, and so on. So you will know your individual feedback before we get, or when we are discussing in class. So it will not just be about, all right, now I see what you're doing, but you'll also be saying, I see what you're doing and I see what I had done wrong. And now I understand the feedback you've given me. Then when we get to the very end, each and every phase for the main program ends with an exam. So we are then saying that we have prioritized these topics. But this is a priority list. We also going to assess you on things that we will have told you that they are self-study. And we'll then say, guys, are you aware that these are self-study topics? If they are self-study topics, are you then ready to handle them? But the idea is that these ones that we'll have covered, they are some of the most foundational and complex standards. So if you are able to crack this, then we are saying you will have had a winning formula to be able to crack any other standards that will give you. So that is the idea right here. Does that make sense? In terms of how you should be approaching the course. Any questions right there? Wait, I'm not seeing hands. Let me go this side. Paste then the meeting link. Are we all clear? Any questions so far? No, hi. Oh, okay. Wait, is the end done? All right. I see a question on the timetable. Yes, so that looks like the timetable for the half year. So the half year, yeah, the half year, then it combines some of those. Yeah. So the half year, if you can see the half year, it's like that. Okay. All good. All right, cool. Was asking a question. So what was the question about the textbook? It was, sorry, if you can go through that question again. Is it pure you said?
Yes, it was pure. So pure, if you could please jump in and maybe try and clarify your question. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Basically, I was asking, because I'm seeing that there are three options there when I click the link, and I was mentioning the fact that I'm coming from SEMA and I'm not familiar with Saika, so I don't know which books I should choose, and so I wanted you to maybe at least maybe guide us on that because they look the same to me. So yeah, it's just the prices are different, and so I don't understand volume one, volume two, and all those things.
You're gonna need all of them. That one, yes. You're gonna need all three. So you're gonna need volume 1, 2, and 3. Those are the primary ones that you're gonna use throughout the course, and you're also gonna use next year when you do the APC. If you're doing the APC next year, yeah. Did you get that, Stuart?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wait, you said APC next year.
Oh, no. I said if you are, when are you doing it? This year?
Yeah, I'm planning on writing this year.
All right, yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's the one. So all three. So that's what I recommend for everyone. All three. You're gonna need them throughout the assessment periods. You're gonna use them even when you sit for the final exam at the end of the year. Those are the most foundational ones. Okay. So the assessment, yeah, the assessment, these are, you write under time constraints. I think it's a 4-hour assessment. You submit and we mark. We give you detailed feedback. so which you can use in order to what? To just improve going forward. Okay. Then how is it? Where's my presentation now? Let me open my presentation on this new laptop, but we're almost done now. Okay, I see Henry's question. Sorry, Henry's question. So yes. So the reason why we do separate, sometimes someone could say that I had an old version and I just want to buy this one and so on. Because maybe say someone gave you these books 2 years ago, and maybe they completed their APC 2023 and they give you their books. So you might be saying that, but I've got those books, do I need to buy? So I could then say that, no, just buy the text legislation because there have been some key text amendments regarding maybe solar panels and all this thing, and said, oh, sure, I just want that book. So that's the idea there. But in terms of if you are new, you are starting from scratch, you've never bought these books before, then option 3 is then the best one. Yeah, sure. But if you have last year's volume 1 and volume 2, there is no need to buy those again. You can use those. Those will be fine. So if last year, for one reason or the other, you bought volume 1 and volume 2, there's no need to buy. I'll say just consider buying only volume 3 for this year. But if you are saying that, but do I really need to? You can also wait for the text team and then they will clarify. But I can confirm volume 1 and 2, not necessarily to invest in new ones if you have the 2024 versions. All right. Then my presentation now, it's which one? Anthony, please go for it.
Thanks, Rendani. Maybe just a question.
Sure.
It's maybe something that I could have probably done on my before this call. What is the Ndunamu's success rate in APC for full year candidates first time writing?
So last year, that's the first time we had it on a full year basis. So the candidates that did the full year last year are now in the APC 2025 program. Does that make sense? So because previously we used to only have it as a 3-month, 4-month course.
Oh, in other words, you're saying this is the first time that you're actually running the full year, which would have probably started mid-year last year and therefore running into 2025. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. So just to make sure we are talking about the same thing. So the ones we had started with us April 2024, right?
Okay.
And we journeyed together up until end of November 2024 in the ABC.
Okay.
And now they are now doing APC.
Okay.
Makes sense. So they will be formally sitting at the end of November or early December 2025 for the APC.
I see. Okay.
Yes. So for the ones that we had, so most of them, and the structure is, once we are here, we go together into 2025 together. So I then become your, we don't have a name for it, but I become your team leader, kind of. We don't have a term for it. but those are now the people that are allocated to me to make sure they do well in the program so that they pass, because we want them to pass. So that's the idea. So that means you, for the full year, if you're on the full year, when we get to APC 2026, you are then allocated to me. Then the others are allocated to our MD, and the others are allocated to our APC academic head. So that's how it works. So what it means that from a support and a technical perspective, we walk this journey together until end of next year.
So if I may, and I saw P. Ngwenya's name has raised their hand, but if I may just do a follow-up question,
Sure.
Praytone, if it's okay.
Mm.
Then is it possible, because I hear you talking, okay, and maybe that's where I'm missing the
Sure.
whole concept of the bridging course specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if I wanted to start the year and
Yeah.
I wanted to write the APC in December this year,
Yeah.
then what journey would I be following?
So the journey that you'll be following, it will be twofold. One, you will need to make an assessment of, do you want to be here? Are you ready to jump into the APC? Because the APC is going to assume you know the technical that I was talking about. So then it means that when they assess you, they're going to say, Anthony, here's a task. Let's go do IFRIS 3 on it. So then it becomes, or the onus is on you to first go and study IFRIS 3, know it, and then come and do the task. And so on for the different discipline. Then now, if you then have a course like this, you then say, oh, what are we doing? They say, we are doing IFRIS 3. Then you say, oh, sure, you are talking about the business combination standard. So you want me to know about how to calculate goodwill. You want to know how to measure fair value consideration. You want me to identify the assets. You want me, okay, I know what you want. What is the task about? Oh, the task is focusing on X. I'm good to go. Yes, I might need to revise one or two things, but I am with you in terms of what you want me to do. So if you then say that I am good for one reason or the other, I've done the foundation and I know the technical, then you can jump into the APC directly, meaning that you start now the APC and you run with the team up until end of October 2025. Then come December 3rd, you then sit for the APC. That's journey number one. Journey number two, you then say, all right, I think there are some benefits that I see I could obtain from this bridging course, but I don't want the full year. So I'm going to journey through the half year. The half year, it's now compact. It is starting at the same time, but it then wraps up on 30 April 2025. Why? So that you can jump into the main APC program and then run with the team from there. So what you then need to be mindful of from an APC perspective is that you might say that because it starts now in Jan, as much as I'm starting in April, it might be good to be enrolled from the one from Jan, but I'll then catch up on the content on my own so that I don't miss a lot. But it means that the onus is on you to then catch up from what has been covered now while you're doing or focusing on building this technical competence. So that's where it then all fits in, Anthony.
It makes sense now. Thank you.
Sure. But then the full year is to say that, sure, I'm not necessarily keen on writing the APC this year. I'm still happy for next year. For one reason or the other, I just want to take this journey and work through the content, because as I'm saying, the content we are working with is CTA content, which we generally cover in a full 12-month period. And the assessment structure is much more rigorous for CTA. There are more assessments and they are more integrated and all these things. But the ABC is like a light version of a CTA and a board course program combined. And then such a person will then be going with us into 2026 and starting the APC in Jan 2026 to sit in December 2026. Okay, sure. Thank you. Sure, Priska, I see you. We are there. Thank you. So, Peyton, hope I said your name correctly.
Good evening. You said my name correct. I just want to check on something. On text, are we going to cover the Zim text as well, or it's South African text?
So for text, what then is going to happen? There will be few lectures on it, because the Zim text is not as extensive as the South African text. So there will be a separate schedule for it, mostly around tutorials. What is going to happen though is that we are busy finalizing the development of the CTA videos on text. So what it means when we get there, you will then get the CTA videos the same way that the South African candidates get, but you will then have a tutorial program on text. In other words, your face note will tell you, go and watch these videos. Then we're gonna have a live class and we're gonna discuss this tutorial question. And then,
okay.
Yeah, so that's how it's gonna work.
It's okay.
Sure. All right, then the full year, the way we concluded with what we call Introduction to APC. So remember that I said we are busy developing those integrated thinking competencies, but we are not naming them. So essentially, when we get to Introduction to APC, we start now saying, what is the APC? So we then spend about 2 weeks unpacking this. And we even use one example so that you see how all the technical we worked through the year, how does it fit into the APC? So it becomes even more enlightening, and it helps you to say, now that I know how all the year's work fits into APC, how do I spend my December holiday? I need to spend my December holiday reading through IFRIS, reading through this, and so on and so on. So that is the general expectation there. And then when it comes to the half year, just notice what's in red. So math becomes self-study. Then the technical competence phase. The 3 disciplines, we do them each over 1 month, and we don't have introduction to APC, because immediately thereafter, you jump into the APC program. And additionally, you don't have the exams, because it's such an accelerated program. We don't believe you'll be able to prepare right, and we don't want to unnecessarily overload the program. So you don't go through the exams, but you have the tutorials, because we still want you to be able to see how you apply all those principles relating to what? To the technical. So that is the difference between those. And that's what it's all about, or what we have in store for tonight. Prayton, is that another question or is that the previous end? You let me know. But yeah, so that's it, team. So I'm really looking forward to working with you. And yes, as I'm saying, by the time we are done, you'll be less nervous, you'll be excited, you'll be sad when the ABC comes to an end. It always feels like that. It feels like you want to learn more. But APC, one of the things when you look at the program, you will not find the what? You will not find the technical topics because it assumes that what? It assumes that you have gone through this and we are just busy applying. So that is the difference between the two, fundamentally speaking. Let me just show you quickly those timetables that I had. So if you look at the timetable for the APC, so the APC, you'll see that it does not have, let's go cover revenue, let's go cover internal controls. No, it's all about further developing those skills that form part of the integrated cycle. So your business acumen, your critical thinking, your citizenship, your, what do you call it? Your business writing, relational acumen, working with others, and we then jump into the case study phase. So that's what makes it very different from this, because we are saying everyone doing the APC will have gone through the technical phase in CTA, ABC, or on their own. So that's the assumption there. The time just doesn't allow, and that's also not the objective of the program. It's a professional program, then further enhancing your professional skills and helping you demonstrate them in a written assessment. So that is what makes this different to an APC program. Okay, I see hands. Peyton, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sure. Hey, Anthony?
Thank you, Rendani. Just generally, how technical is the APC?
So those examples that I was talking about, the ones I was saying, the lease and the revenue and so on, right?
Yes.
That is the APC 2023 verbatim. That was what it was, right? So that's why I'm saying it is founded on technical base. You need a technical base to be able to unpack it. You need, especially the technical task. Strategy, you can navigate with the current work experience and professional exposure that you have. But the accountings, you will find that even when the guys go right, they bring all those handbooks with them. That's that level of technical that is expected of them.
Understood. Thank you.
Sure. Right, team. So that is that. So next step. So next steps will be will be to just familiarize yourself with them with the face note. Then come Saturday, whether you've got your free send books or not yet, don't worry about it. I'll just speak to us and to just highlight that he needs to advise you to download the standards that you're going to be working through, but he will also be using a digital standard, but he will be just helping you understand it. So a lot of the things that I'm talking about now, they'll start making sense soon. Please, though, ask questions, engage. That's the best way to get to get value out of this investment of your time as well as your resources. But from my side, I am looking forward to engaging. So we'll definitely be reaching out tomorrow and over Saturday to just check up on you. But we're going to have a fantastic time together.
Thank you so much, Rendan. Also just to maybe add on to say that you may be also seated there and saying that okay, but Rendan did not clarify this question for me, and I wanted it clarified going forward. So you may just also check your chat box there, and then I also just added a link there so that you can book your one-on-one sessions with our MD Elelwan Mutelo, and then she'll be also sure to then address some of those questions which therefore Rendani did not manage to clarify tonight. Thank you so much, team.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing all of you. I see some familiar names, but I'm sure by the time we are done, we'll know each other very well. All right. Good evening, Nadia. I see you there as well. That's good. There's someone I'm not seeing. I'll need to check. All right. Have a good evening, everyone, and take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.